I'm Steve Weagle from Channel 5 and Fox 29. I understand Mike Lyons just spoke a few minutes ago too, so we'll probably have a little bit of the same stuff. My apologies for 2016. Not all the slides are 2016, just the, I left my PowerPoint at work on Friday, and so I scrambled this morning to make a new one to show you today. So I'm going to talk for like, I guess 10 or 15 minutes, and then if you have any questions, you can ask. All right, let's get into it. All right, there's, how many people were here for Hurricane Jeanne? Quite a few, yeah. Tough to forget Jeanne. So Jeanne made, that was 2004. That was that crazy year where we had Charlie on the West Coast, and then we had Francis and Jeanne here. Landfall, the same area, South Hutchinson Island, around Sailfish Point. But it's really this area here, all the way north into Vero and Sebastian, that is what we call being on the right side of the track. So typically you get the greatest threat for tornadoes and sometimes the heaviest rainfall, certainly the strongest winds, especially in a well-developed hurricane like this. All right, I won't ramble on too much, but that's Jeanne, so that's a Category 3 hurricane at landfall, and that was the third Sunday in September. And Francis was, well, if you were here for Francis took about 5 days to get here, and when it got here, it sat over us for a week. At the time, one of our other weather guys said you could walk faster than Francis was moving. It was going about 2 miles. All the new bulletins from the Hurricane Center would come out and they go, moving west at 2, moving west at 3 miles an hour, so very slow. And this is Irma. Irma from last year, which of course had a big impact here. How many people went through Irma? Oh, wow. So that's surprising. So that a lot of you are new in the last 5 or 10 years. Well, it's good that you're here so you can get ready for hurricane season. Irma, there were no hurricane force winds here in right along the east coast of Florida. There were hurricane force gusts. In fact, the power plant had about 100-mile-an-hour wind gust on that Sunday afternoon, late afternoon, early evening. But as far as sustained winds, there were none here. It made landfall, Cujo Key in the Keys, as a Category 4, but then tracked west of the lake. But a lot of people, I mean, if you ask almost everyone, hey, did you go through Hurricane Irma? They're going to say yes, but then they're surprised that there was never sustained hurricane force winds here. So in the future, keep in mind that if there's a hurricane coming and it's going to be very close or make landfall here, the winds will be much stronger than this. This is, believe it, around the Caribbean when it was a Category 5. Irma was a Category 5 hurricane for days and days, and of course did a lot of destruction in the Caribbean too. And then, of course, moved into South Florida and Cuba, hugged the coastline of Cuba for about 24 hours. So these are the names for this year, and unfortunately, we've already gone through the first named storm, El Balto, and they're in alphabetical order, male, female, and we name hurricanes and tropical storms just so that if there are 2 or 3 different ones out there, it's easy to keep track of them and not confuse them. And this list is recycled every 6 years. So you'll see these names again 6 years from now, unless a hurricane is memorable, it does a lot of damage, if there are fatalities, then that name is retired. So there'll never be another Hurricane Andrew or Katrina or Francis or Jeanne or Irma or Matthew. All those names are retired. And then 6 years later, they're replaced with another name with that letter. So hopefully we don't use too many of these this year. So some of them obviously might look familiar to you simply because they've shown up in the past. So hurricane season starts June 1st, and it runs through November 30th, but you can get named storms or hurricanes just about any month of the year. And usually this time of year is very quiet, not so much this year. I should also say before I forget, a lot of people ask, okay, we've already had one named storm. Does that mean it's going to be a busy hurricane season? Not at all. In fact, if you look back at previous years where they've been a May or an early June storm, it's not relevant at all whether it turns out to be a busy season or a slow season. So that's good, I think. Now, most of our storm activity is between August 15th and October 15th. So I always try to take my vacation and get back before August 15th. Otherwise, they call me back. I've come back 5 times already. And some of those times, I booked a trip too late. Too late for me. So 70 to 80% of our storms form between mid-August and mid-October, so that shaded area. And usually early in the season, the storms form in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean and the Bahamas. And then, there's a switch that's flipped around August 15th, August 20th, and the storms begin to form in the Atlantic. We call them the Cape Verde hurricanes. Those are the ones that are usually, if they have a little bit of warm water, usually very powerful because they have thousands of miles of warm ocean to tap into before they become a threat to the U.S. Those are your Andrew type storms, and other ones that come in, watch them for a week or two before they actually become a threat. And so why does the season shift? Well, weather conditions become more favorable in the Atlantic. There's less wind shear, the water is warmer, and so they have a better chance of developing after August 15th. So they're rated on a scale from Category 1 to Category 5. Jean was a 3. Francis was a 2. Irma was a 5 for a long time, but made landfall as a 4 in the Keys. And, of course, Wilma, too, which in this area was, I would say, Category 1. The problem with rating hurricanes is they're all rated on with anemometers, the little cups that spin around, and we don't really have a great network of weather sensors. And in the strong hurricanes, what usually happens is they blow away at some point. They just don't stay. They're made for, they're not made for winds 130, 140 miles an hour. That actually happened in Hurricane Andrew. There were a couple hundred anemometers around Miami and down around Homestead, and I think the last one stood till about 150, 55 miles an hour, and then it blew away too. So then you're left with nothing. And after the fact, it turned out that Andrew was not a Category 4, but a Category 5 hurricane. So I'll just flip through these. So there's only 3 Category 5 hurricanes have ever hit the U.S. Hurricane Andrew, the 1935 hurricane that hit the Keys, took out Flagler's Railroad. And if you drive down, I think it's Key Largo, there's a monument in the middle of US 1 commemorating, and several hundred people died in that hurricane. They were building the railroad, and so there's a monument there, pretty big monument. I think it's in Key Largo, just as you first drive down. It's easy to see. And so Andrew, the 35, also called the Labor Day hurricane, and then Hurricane Camille in 1969, which hit Mississippi and Alabama. Well, there they are there. Oh, there's, I said the 35 hurricane, and this photo, you can see the train literally is off the tracks. I don't know if that was storm surge or wind, but that was the 35 hurricane. So that's, they're building Flagler's Railroad, and they actually sent a train down to save those people, and the train got there at the height of the storm. So they perished because of that. That photo is also at Mallory Square in Key West. There's damage from Hurricane Andrew. So in Andrew, the winds, 165, 170 miles an hour. Those are the sustained winds. Wind gusts are usually much higher. And this is what a lot of the damage in a hurricane, it's not that sustained wind. It's the wind gusts that come in that are much stronger, or it's pieces of plywood flying at 150 miles an hour that do a lot of damage too. So we always try to get people, if there's a hurricane threatening, to clean up your yard, get everything that might become a projectile, and secure that before the hurricane comes. This is a famous building, probably the second most famous building after the Hurricane Center. This is Pass Christian, Mississippi, east of New Orleans. It's 1969. This is called the Richelieu Apartments. And this road is along the Gulf of Mexico. It's US 90. So on the other side of the street is the Gulf of Mexico. And Hurricane Camille is coming. So 30 people decide they're going to have a hurricane party. And it's a 3-story building. Unfortunately, Camille had almost a 30-foot storm surge, and it was completely washed away, the whole building. One person lived, and there's actually a museum in this area that you can go learn the history of Camille. And when you go on vacation, you probably go to Orlando or New York or Europe or wherever. I go to old hurricane landfall spots because I'm a weather nerd. Yeah, you should see the look on my wife's face. So I went back there to see what they had built from 1969. They built a Winn-Dixie and a Rite Aid Rite Aid's a pharmacy, isn't it? So I gave this, I took this picture 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and someone who had seen my talks sent me a picture now. Now something happened in the last 10 years, 12 years, I'll be at least 12 now, Katrina. So, and Katrina had a significant storm surge. So what happened to the Winn-Dixie? It washed away. It was pretty obvious that it was amazing driving down this road, US 90. So the picture with me in it is right around here somewhere. And the Gulf of Mexico is right on the bottom there. And the storm surge goes in miles and miles. In this area, the storm surge shouldn't be as significant. Worst case scenario, like worst case, 15 to 20 feet maybe a little higher in some of the inlets. It's also important to remember the St. Lucie and the Loxahatchee, the Jupiter Inlet. You can live miles inland and still be susceptible to storm surge. You may go, well, I'm nowhere near the beach. And what happens is the water piles in the St. Lucie Inlet. That storm surge rushes in, and it has nowhere to go. So the water level actually, as the rivers narrow, that water gets higher and higher and higher. So even though you're miles inland, if you look on the evacuation maps, you'll notice that the shaded areas will follow those rivers, and that's the reason why. So a typical hurricane or tropical storm, they form from tropical waves usually, not always, but we get about 60 to 80 that come off the coast of Africa each year. They're just clusters of storms, kind of like the thunderstorms you'd see in the afternoon as you look off toward the west. Here are some here, so this would be this actual satellite shot, so that'd be a tropical wave, and there'd be a big wave here, and as they come off, if they get just the right weather conditions and they start to spin, they become tropical depressions. They're not given a name, they're given a number, so depression 1, 2, and if the winds are 39 miles an hour stronger, they become tropical storms, and then they're given a name, like Alberto and Beryl, and then 74 miles an hour stronger, they are hurricanes. And then, not always, but sometimes they end up in what we call the hurricane graveyard, the North Atlantic, where water temperatures are cold and the upper level winds shear them apart. So way up, in the North Atlantic, just south of Greenland. So some of the big threats from hurricanes, we always concentrate on the wind. But storm surge and inland flooding, so fresh water from rain usually, are also big threats. Even weak storms, well, just look at Houston and Harvey, and then there was another storm in Houston about 20 years ago, Allison. It wasn't even a hurricane, it was a tropical storm. It left 30, 40 inches of rain. And that's certainly possible here. We've had weather events here. Faye, in this area, did a lot of flooding damage. Everyone, the rains come from these storms, and when it starts to flood, the first thing people say, well, you didn't build the infrastructure, right? You didn't build the drainage the way it should be built. It's built right, it's just, it's not built for 20 inches of rain in a day, and sometimes that happens. So that's why they always recommend to get flood insurance, even if you're not in a typical flood area, because anyone can get that freshwater flooding. There's a storm, I want to say Ernesto, it might be Irene, about 5 or 10 years ago in Wellington and the Loxahatchee area, and that was about 25 inches of rain overnight. So it can cause big problems very quickly. This has actually been updated this year. So you get watches and warnings, and what we tell people, this is Houston actually from Allison. So you can see, I think it's I-10, just, you can't move around. And obviously even a worse situation with Harvey last year. Got a few shots here. So I mean, the whole interstate's underwater there. That's Houston again. And this is Ike, and I show this because it's a storm surge hurricane. Ike is, I think, a 3 or a 4, and it's headed to Galveston, an area that can get huge storm surge. And at the time, it was a pretty significant hurricane, but as it got closer, it weakened. It was a 2, I believe, and a lot of people thought, oh, well, it's a 2. I can ride this one out. I've done it in the past. The winds won't be too bad. But remember, it's not always the wind. It's a storm surge. And the storm surge, Bob Sheets, the old Hurricane Center director, gave me a great analogy. He said, if you take a glass of water that's filled to the top and you blow on the top of it, all the water piles up on the other rim of the glass. You're making a mini storm surge when you do that. And that's what's happening along the coastline too. So Ike, even though it wasn't the strongest hurricane wind-wise, this is just north of Galveston, the Boulevard Peninsula, and the storm surge, the water went right over the Barrier Islands. So this was all homes, and they all washed away. Now there's a special little spot here. It's right there. You want to see that? That's this. Yeah. Now why? Why is there one house standing? Well, these people who own this house went through Rita the year before or 2 years before, and they lost their house. So when they moved here, they built a house to hurricane standards. Everything was extra, everything with wind and storm surge and everything else it was very obviously a very well-built house. And the water, I believe, went up to the second floor of this house. So I don't know if they were able to move back and refurbish it, but it shows you just how well good construction can help. So these, everyone asked the high pressure. In 2004 and other years, the Bermuda High will be very close to Florida, and high pressure acts like a wall. The hurricanes want to naturally turn north, but if the high is really strong, they are forced toward Florida, and they become more of a threat. So everyone wants to know, well, where is the high going to be in August and September? Well, it's almost impossible to predict, and you need a storm there at the same time. It's all a timing thing, but you can get persistent, like the last 3 or 4 weeks with all the rainfall. It's just a couple of weather systems that just stall, and they just sit over us. And then we had the extra aggravation of Alberto coming in, and that just added to the rainfall totals too. So that, you get these stalled weather patterns, and sometimes that happens in hurricane season, and it becomes a very busy hurricane season for us. Also Saharan dust. This is literally dust that comes off the coast of Africa, gets in the sky, and it suppresses hurricane development. So more dust in the atmosphere is a good thing for us, because it doesn't shut down completely developing storms, but it certainly helps. It reaches Florida, and you can have breathing problems from it. It'll make for, instead of that deep blue sky in the summer, it'll be very hazy, and many times that's from Saharan dust. So when they do a hurricane forecast, they look at water temperatures in the Atlantic. Right now, the water temperatures in most of the Atlantic where hurricanes form the water temperature is actually cooler than normal. So if that trend continues, that would be good for us. And we had a La Nina that's fading very quickly. El Nino, which is warm water in the Pacific Ocean, I may have it here. Oh, I don't want to do that yet. is warm water in the Pacific Ocean. Well, you can see it here, off the coast of Peru. When there's a strong El Nino, there are usually very few hurricanes during the season because the jet stream changes and it shifts. It cuts into them. The wind shear makes it difficult for them to form. So we have now some of those triggers that actually should help make it a more normal season compared to last year. Last year was classed as a hyperactive season. And the three main storms were Harvey and Irma and Maria. And this year, it's looking more and more like more of an average season. And this is the forecast. You know what? These numbers, I think they just changed yesterday. Dr. Bill Gray works at Colorado State University. The first thing that people ask, what does a guy from Colorado State know about hurricane forecast? Well, he, in the 1950s, used to come to Miami in the winter, and everyone would be asking, I wonder what this hurricane season is going to be like. So that's how he got into that research. He passed away a few years ago, but one of his students took over his work, Phil Klotzbach, and he's done an amazing job. But I believe he just the other day dropped these numbers even more because those big triggers that make for an active season aren't there this year. So we're hoping that it's a slower season. But it only takes one storm. So even if, like Andrew, 1992 was a very slow hurricane season. Think about it. Think about 1992. Andrew is the A storm. It's the first storm of the season, and it doesn't form until late August. So you're like halfway through the season almost, and there's nothing that has formed. And then Andrew forms, and it hits Miami. And so even though overall it was a slow season, I don't think anyone in Miami in 1992 would say it was a slow hurricane season. So that's the end of that. Thank you for coming, and thank you for getting prepared. And hopefully it's a quiet season.